if you've been watching my channel for long enough, you'll know that I love Bryan Cranston. He's like top 3 actors, in my opinion, of all time. I love Breaking Bad. I think he's great in everything he's done. I love, like, Malcolm in the Middle, especially. It's just, I love him so much. So, of course, when I heard he was having a movie, I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. And this was incredibly disappointing. It's not, like, the worst film I've ever seen, but Jerry and Marge Go Large is not great. Jerry and Marge Go Large was released in 2022. It was written by Brad Copeland and directed by David Frankel. Now, no spoilers, but the general idea is Jerry is this retired man. He's worked every day of his life for his entire life, and now he's retired and he has nothing to do, and he doesn't know what to do with himself. So he decides, out of nowhere basically, to sit down and figure out how to hack the lottery system. He wants to win a ton of money and help his town rebuild and become like more of a bigger town that is, whatever. They're building community. And so he does that. That's the film. That's pretty much it. I mean, there's an evil guy. Some kid from Harvard is like, oh, well, I also found it, so I'm going to take all the money too and take it for myself. And that was really silly, but whatever. We'll get to that. But let's start at the very core of this film, which is the writing and the directing, which is the worst part of this film. The writing is awful. I'm sorry, Brad Copeland, but work on your dialogue. I mean, mine's no better, but still, like, a lot of the dialogue in this film is just awful. Like, cheesy as hell and, like, awful. I think that some of it does have to do with the actor's performance of them, but the lines themselves could have used some work. The directing is fine. It's not very inspired. There's not a lot of interesting, fun stuff to look at. It's very much a just conversation, shot, set, reverse thing. Like, that's pretty much the whole thing. There's nothing spectacular in the directing or the editing that screams, this is brilliant. It feels like I could have edited this movie and it would have been at least as good. So that's never good. The performances. Bryan Cranston is not very good in this movie. I've never thought I would ever say that, ever. He's not very good in this movie. There are moments, there are glimpses where I'm like, oh, wait, he's performing now. But for the most part, it feels like they were like, oh, Bryan, you'll get people to watch this movie. Come be in it. He's like, okay. And it's not great. Like, a lot of the performance, even just him particularly, is just rough. And I can't tell if it's his age or if the writing's bad. I can't tell. But he also has this accent. Sometimes it's like a low southern drawl, like kind of like how old people talk like this a little bit. And it does not work for him because he does it like half of the time. It's like there's a 50-50 chance you throw a coin when you have to do it. You have to have a large sample size. You get the joke, whatever, if you've seen the movie. But if you flip a coin, right, who knows if he's going to have the accent for the next line or not. Because it doesn't feel like he knows what accent he's using. Whether it's a straight one, like, oh, yes, whatever, or kind of down here and just like kind of slow southern drawl kind of thing. I don't know. It's very weird. I don't know why he decided to do that or if somebody told him to, but it's rough. It's very weird, very strange. Kind of hard to watch. I think that Annette Bening as Marge was worse. She was not very good in this film. Again, it's hard to tell if she's a bad actress or if the writing is awful. It's at least one of the two. So I'm giving credit where credit is due and saying that they're all bad. That's my conclusion. Rainn Wilson somehow has the best part in this film. Like, I never thought I'd say that about Rainn Wilson for any reason ever. But he, like I love Rainn Wilson. He's great in The Office, but he's never been an actor, And, like, I don't know, this one's funny. He plays the same character he did in Meg, but with less money. And it's really funny. It's really funny to watch him do this. It's funny every time he does this, and I will continue to watch him doing this until he decides to stop. But the fact that Rainn Wilson is the highlight in a movie that also has Bryan Cranston in it is just mind-boggling to me. So there's that. That's pretty much the whole movie. Oh, and no, I forgot to talk about the villain. Harvard. There's a Harvard guy, and he's like, oh, I can figure it out too. I'm going to make so much money. And he does. And then Bryan Cranston and him have like this like weird intellectual fight where they're like, oh, well, you're just doing this because you're selfish. And, oh, well, you think you're going to save your little town? Are you? Huh? Well, no, you're not. And it's like, it's so dumb. It's hard to watch because it's like embarrassing. Like I feel embarrassed on behalf of the movie, kind of, in the fact that it just like feels weird, right? The whole Harvard kid was just a mess, bad idea. Even if it is based on a true story, just cut it out. Just cut it out. Like, it's fine. It doesn't need to be there. The ending looked like it was going in a cheesy way, and then I was like, okay, it's kind of cute, it's fine, whatever. The good things about this movie, the runtime is pretty nice. It's like an hour and a half. That's great. I love that. And it was fast-paced, too, so it felt like we were chugging along. I never wanted to stop watching the movie. I was, like, actively saying, oh, this isn't very good, but I was never turning it off, because the story is really good. That is where this film does have its good parts. Is really the story. The story is really fun. It's fun. Like, of course we want to watch this guy win the lottery a bunch of times. How fun is that? It's super fun. And I think that the way they went about it was interesting and a little creative. I thought that was fun. I'm a huge math lover myself. I love numbers. So it's fun to kind of watch that. It did kind of feel weird, like they made Bryan Cranston seem like a bad guy for like not loving his family for 40 years. I thought that was weird and a weird decision, but whatever. And Marge has this side plot where she really wants to get in bed with Jerry. And it's like, why didn't you just tell him that? Because there's a part in the movie where like they obviously go to do it, and it didn't take anything. There was no words exchanged. She was like, hey, do you want... He was like, oh. And that's the whole thing. You're like, okay, cool. Great. Why didn't you do that when you wanted to do it before? Like, it's never like I think you should just ask. You're married. You've done it before. You have 2 kids. Not that hard to be like, hey, do it before. Like, I don't understand why this side plot's dumb. But whatever. This movie is fine. Like, if somebody who doesn't like movies came up to me, like, they don't watch movies a whole lot, they don't really care if it's, like, super good, and they're like, I just want to watch a pleaser that's going to make me happy and feel good and have fun, I'd be like, okay, well, I guess you can watch Jerry and Marge Go Large, because it's easy to follow, fast-paced, fun, and just don't listen to the dialogue, and they'll be like, okay, cool, and they'll like it, and that's fine. But for me, this one fell very flat, and I wish I could say that I liked it more, but I didn't, so I'm going to go ahead and give this movie a C. Have you guys seen Jerry and Marge Go Large? Let me know in the comments below what you guys thought about it. A C, I think, is generous. I think it's very generous because I do like Bryan Cranston, and I do think that the movie is fun. I think it's a fun movie, and it's fast-paced. It's just really bad as well. But it's not bad to the point where like I don't want to watch it, and it's not bad to the point where it's good. So I put it kind of in the middle, below average. So that's my thought process. Anyway, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a whole lot. Like the video, share it with friends. That's always extremely helpful. And again, please subscribe so you can find your next movie at Robert's Reviews.